And what an honor and a pleasure to speak with you. I've been a long time fan, so thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel to be 70?
Not great.
Oh.
Not as good as it was to be 30.
I've been listening to the new album, and it is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can't actually stop listening to it. In fact, I think this might, in my opinion, be your best album in quite some time. How do you feel about it?
I think it's very strong, and I must admit I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Is this the have you sung all the tracks on any other album?
I'm not sure. I have done singing before, but this is the first time that I actually wrote all the songs for me to sing. So it's different in that respect.
And not only did you sing, but you were playing bass on all the songs as well?
Yeah. Well, I've been sort of working out bass parts now. I didn't play them, but on the last album as well. So it's just sort of a natural progression.
It sounds wonderful, and it's great to hear you sing. It comes across very, very nicely.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I was looking at the lyrics for the title track.
Yeah.
And there's a line in here that says, "I cast off faded colors, maybe find who I am." Are you still trying to find who you are?
I think so. I mean, I don't think anybody is quite certain about who they really are. Influences, life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is you're continually discovering things about yourself, or hopefully are anyway. Strengths, weaknesses.
And how have your views changed as you've aged? Is there anything that you've noticed, either musically or personally, that you've had some, relatively big change in the way you feel or think about things?
More than anything, really, I think I determined that the music I made over the last sort of 4 or 5 years would be just to suit myself. In other words, I was making tracks, that were just to please myself, and I wasn't thinking about anybody else, about who would like it or who wouldn't like it. So I think that's something, that I made a conscious decision to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether that's to do with having done so much stuff or not, but I just felt, I was going to get it right by my own standards, by my own, idea of what right is.
I think that comes across in this latest album.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it all fits together sort of like a glove. I've been following you since I was a teenager, in the mid-'70s, and when I put this album on the first time, as soon as it started, I thought to myself, okay, this is the real Robin Trower.
Well, that's great. I mean, if that comes across, that's what I set out to do, I think,
Yeah, it's an amazing album. And you did the artwork on the cover as well?
Yeah, I love that.
Is that something you've been doing for a while, art?
I've done the last, I think it's the last 3 covers I've done.
Okay.
And I did 1 or 2 earlier as well, some years ago, but it's just something I started doing on the last 3 albums. I do it because it's fun and I enjoy doing it. You get creative satisfaction out of it. Just felt like if it's something I created, then it would suit, what the music fit together, really,
So I'd like to touch on maybe some of your early career. Gary Brooker of the Paramounts, do you still stay in touch with him at all?
I'm in touch, but, we don't hang out or anything, but yeah, I'm in touch with him.
That's great. I was also told that at one time you gave lessons to Robert Fripp of King Crimson.
We became friends because we were touring together in the 70s. We were on the same bill, and I got to know him, and we became friends.
And you're still in touch with him?
Yeah, very much so. In fact, he came to the show. He came to see me play about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've seen him recently, as it were.
How did the UK tour go?
Oh, it's great. Really, really good. Excellent audiences, and we had a good time.
I saw you late last year. You were in Washington, D.C. at the Howard Theater.
Oh, yeah. That was quite a difficult gig, if I remember rightly.
It was an amazing concert, and it was packed to the brim. Are you ever surprised that you still have the following that you do?
I'm not sure I ever think about it, to be honest. It's just, it's a joy when you get a really good crowd, it really is a joy, and it can make the show if it's a good audience.
I've personally seen you, I think, over 25 times.
Wow.
And what I've noticed is that in your early concerts, you didn't interact with the audience as much as one might think. And as you've progressed through your career and the concerts I've seen you smile more. I've seen you interact with the audience more, and I've seen you be more animated on stage.
Yeah, well, it's probably because I'm enjoying it and I'm pretty comfortable doing what I'm doing.
Was there a time you didn't enjoy it?
I think I went through a phase where we were playing large places, really big places, and the acoustics in those arenas are terrible, really, really bad for music. So it was always a struggle playing in those places.
Yeah, I've heard that from more than one musician.
Yeah, I think it's a common complaint.
The Bridge of Sighs album is such an iconic album. Have you ever been to the actual Bridge of Sigh?
No, I haven't, no.
Well, is that something you might want to be doing at some point?
It's something I thought I'd wanted to do up to now. I mean, maybe I would like to go to Venice sometime, but, I actually got the name Bridge of Sighs from a racehorse. And I'm sure that racehorse was named after the bridge in Venice, but that's how I picked it up. It was in the sports pages of the newspaper. Bridge of Sighs to win. And it just stuck with me. So that's where I got it from.
So did you have the music already written and you were sort of looking?
Yeah, the music was already written, but not completed. I'm still working on the melody, I think.
Can you tell me about the inspiration or motivation for Two Rolling Stones?
I think a lot of that is about my time with Procol Harum.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of that lyric is personal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are most of your songs autobiographical? Do they have some grounding or basis in your life?
I think some of them do. Some of them, are part fiction and part me. Some of them are complete fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there is. I mean, probably on this new album, there's more autobiographical stuff than any other album, I would think.
So something's about to change. That's a direct statement about where you are in your life? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I definitely had a feeling after the last album, Roots and Branches, I just felt I was moving into a new phase musically and as a player. So, and other things as well, obviously, of a more personal nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it all felt like, I was moving into a different phase.
Right. One of my favorite albums of yours, I like them all, but one of the albums I kept finding myself putting on over and over again was BLT.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little?
Yeah, I think there's some pretty potent stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jack's great on it.
I'm sorry?
I say Jack is great on it.
Yeah. Jack was amazing on that album.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever done it, but I've always wanted to hear No Island Lost live.
No, I don't think I've ever played that song live. No, in fact, I'm pretty sure I haven't.
That song just, from the moment it starts, it just, it just kicks your ass, for lack of a better term.
It's a powerhouse thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And then that album goes sort of, into some really heavy blues. It's just, I think that's again one of your best works.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, Jack and I were pretty pleased with it. Although our favourite album, I think, that we did together was Seven Moons.
Yeah.
Because that was much more of a complete collaboration.
Yeah, and you did a DVD for that as well.
That's right.
Right. Is there any plans for maybe another DVD anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking about it. And I think, the time it's about time I did another one, definitely.
Yeah, I think if I could speak for your fans, we would love to see another one.
Yeah, I think there's enough sort of different material now I'm playing live that would warrant, having a new DVD.
Yeah. Maybe you'll play No Island Lost.
No, you need Jack Bruce to do that one.
Well, that's true. That's true. And so speaking of bass players, on this last U.S. tour, I don't know if he was with you on the UK tour, was a young man.
Yeah, Richard, yeah, he was.
My understanding is that he's someone you've sort of mentored and as a family friend?
That's right, yeah. I mean, he went to school with my son. So they're the same age. And I heard him singing in church at Mass one Sunday and just thought he had a beautiful voice. So from there, I sort of kept an eye on him and eventually he took up the bass and vocals for me.
Oh, what an amazing experience for him it must have been.
Yeah, he's a brilliant musician, though. Absolutely brilliant.
It's sort of always interesting to see who you're going to be playing with live. Never quite know.
Right.
Outside of music, Robin, what are your interests?
Well, I like watching soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very keen on that. It's sort of walking and trying to keep fit, sort of thing, exercise, and pretty simple. I lead a pretty simple life, but mostly I'm working because it's my hobby as well. So I try and pick up the guitar every day if I can.
Okay.
I'm usually working on some new material.
Are you writing for a new album now?
Yeah, I've recorded 7 tracks, and I'm just sort of doing a bit more writing to get the rest of them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you have a title, a working title?
No, I don't have a title yet, but I'm hoping to get it finished by about October and get it out maybe in the spring next year.
And then I hope you follow that up with yet another tour.
I'm hoping to, yeah, that's right. I'm hoping to get back to the States. I'm coming out in about a month to tour.
Yeah, you'll be on the West Coast, I believe, in California.
Yeah, that's right, starting sort of, I think we start in Tulsa, I think, Texas, and then the West, yeah.
Yeah. I was told to maybe ask you if you still have your Jensen Interceptor.
No.
Oh, you don't?
Many years ago I had that in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you no longer have that. Are cars a part of your life now or no?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked to have a nice car. You know, I'm not a collector or anything, but yeah, I'm into cars.
Yeah, I heard you had a nice Jaguar as well.
How did you know that?
I talked to Bill Lorden.
Ah, right.
Is there a process or a formula to how you write your music?
Well, it always starts with a guitar idea.
Okay.
You know, it's got to be a strong guitar idea that I'm, you know, responding to emotionally. It's got to have some feeling to it for me. And then once I've sort of nailed that down, I work on what the vocal parts should be. So the two are always, well, nearly always interconnected. The two have to work together.
But,
and, you know, and then, you know, start thinking about a lyric. And I like to work on a lyric.
mm-hmm.
However many days it takes to get it finished. In other words, I don't think about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't work on another song while I'm working on a lyric because I like to have it going around my head for a few days until I've got it right. Yeah, well, that's it. You've got to let the subconscious kick in as well, you know. That's where all the creativity is, really.
Mm-hmm. All of your albums they all sound amazing, and I don't mean the music themselves, but I mean the engineering of your albums.
Yeah.
Is there one person in particular you work with, or are you taking over more of a role in the engineering of your albums?
No, I don't have very much to do with the engineering of it. On the last, I think, 2 or 3 albums, it's been recorded at the studio by Sam, who's the engineer there, and produced by Livingston Brown, who mixed the albums as well. So he mixes them at his studio, not where they're recorded.
So you essentially just turn it over to him and let him do his magic?
Well, he will mix it, and then I will come in when he's happy with the mix, and then we'll just finalise it together to make sure I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like that's a relatively easy process now, though, for you.
Well, you know, the music is pretty simple. You know, there's not a lot of instruments, there's not a lot of parts. You know, and Livingston, you know, does a great job. He gets a great finished product sound, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all sound marvelous. You put them on, and everything the sound is full.
Yeah. As I say, the engineer is really good. He knows what he's doing, and Livingston's great at what he does. You know, they bring a lot to it.
Mm-hmm. Now, you haven't, unlike lots of other musicians, I haven't seen that you've collaborated with a lot of other musicians. Is that must be purposeful?
I think I prefer to work on my own. You know, I mean, I think I think of myself as being a bit of a misfit musically, actually. That stuff doesn't really marry up with anybody else. Although I worked well with Jack, you know, we did those albums together, and that was good.
Right.
But to create my own brand of stuff, I think I'm, as I say, a bit of a misfit. I don't think anybody else is in, not that I've come across it, I don't think anybody else is in the same space.
Yeah, well, you know that it's Robin Trower playing, you know, within 2 or 3 seconds of hearing a song.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I mean, that's what you hope to achieve, you know?
Yeah. How, the music business has changed drastically since the early 70s. You were, I guess, for lack of a better term, lucky enough to be there when there was still a music machine. You know, there were big labels, and they were working and advertising for the artists. Nowadays, a lot of bands, they don't have that, so they struggle, and they do it all on their own, you know?
Yeah.
Would you have any thoughts on how the music business has changed?
One of the main things is it's become very fragmented. I think you've got a lot more people doing it, because they can with technology. And I think so. The audience becomes fragmented, you know, except for the really, really big pop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think bands and artists are sort of struggling to find a large audience.
Yeah.
As we did in the 70s, you know, but there were fewer of us doing it then. And I think also then you had to be really good because the technology wasn't there to cover it up if you weren't.
Right. I see a lot of new bands, and like I said, they struggle. You know, they're selling their own merchandise, they're booking their own gigs, they're recording their own records and producing them themselves, and it seems to be very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. But as I say, I think it's because there's 100 times more bands and artists now than there was 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're all competing for that same size audience.
Yeah.
That same audience, and it is going to be fragmented.
Yep.
Because there's very few that actually stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true, and like I said, unlike you, who your music is so unique and so powerful that, again, you hear a Robin Trower song, you know it's you within the first few seconds. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's an important. That's very important. I think you know, your fans are loyal and diehard fans, and you deserve every ounce of that. Who were your early influences, Robin?
Well, I think my first influence, I have to always say, is Scotty Moore, the guitar player with Elvis.
Okay.
You know, he was a very big influence on me because, well, he was a fabulous guitar player. That's what made me want to play the guitar in the first place. So, and then the next really big influence, I would have to say, was B.B. King.
Really?
Yeah. From being, you know, sort of more of a rock and roll guitar player, I was through B.B. King. I started to change the way I played. You know, getting into much more of an emotional, human voice kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
Which he was the first guy I'd heard that did that. And, you know, then Jimi Hendrix was a big influence, huge influence. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah. You were maybe unfairly compared continually to Jimi Hendrix early in your career. Did that bother you?
No, I don't think so. You know, I felt maybe people were missing, you know, what I was bringing to it.
Yeah.
But I think people have a better ear now for discerning the difference. You know, I don't hear that so much now, but I think at the time, in the 70s, so close to, you know, when he was around, I think people didn't maybe have quite the ear to be able to discern, you know. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was influenced by Hendrix, but I don't think they were able to hear what I was bringing to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's totally different music and with a totally different style.
No, well, as I say, I think people are much more discerning now. I think there's people with well, I suppose, you know, they've heard a lot more music now and are better equipped to discern, you know, the differences.
Mm-hmm. Is there one pedal or effect that you would never give up? You know, is there one thing, if you could only have one effect, what would it be?
Well, for the last sort of few years, it's the sort of mainstay of my sound has been the full tone signature model overdrive that was built by Full Tone for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the sort of the basis of my sound, and I've actually sort of added other stuff around that, like the wah and you know, the amplifiers. That is the mainstay of it.
And you're exclusively Stratocaster, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Strats, that overdrive, and Marshall amps. Those are the three things, the fundamentals of it.
You have your own signature line of Stratocaster guitars?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. I think were you playing one when I saw you on this last tour?
Yeah, I mean, that's all I play now. I've been playing them for about, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I'm not sure how long, but yeah.
Yeah, an amazing sound those guitars have. And you know, to give you the credit, it's you that are giving those guitars that sound, but you're relatively prolific, right? I mean, you have over 20 albums since '73.
Yeah.
So you enjoy that process? Oh
yeah, I mean it's you know, especially now. I live to work now, really. You know, it's as I say, it's always been my hobby. In the last few years, I've you know, got into it more and more as a constant rather than sort of picking it up and putting it down, if you know what I mean.
I do. Is there one thing musically that you're most proud of?
No, I don't think there is one. I think, you know, there's quite a few that I'm pretty proud of, but you know, I can see, and even the things that I consider some of my best work, I can see where it could have been better. So, you know, it's always that critical, you know, ear that you hear your own stuff with.
Yeah,
you're never really happy with it.
I've heard lots of musicians tell me that as well. Like, you know,
yeah.
I will tell them, "Oh, that song is just amazing," and their response to me sometimes is, "Yeah, but I wish I could redo it."
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, when I listen to the records of my idols, you know, like James Brown or Howlin' Wolf, you know, the bar has been set so high, you know, and that's what you're sort of testing yourself against in a way.
Is there any new artists out there that you're listening to now?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm not really. I've never been one for listening to popular music anyway. As I say, I'm a misfit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I for my own amusement, for my own pleasure, I listen to really old music. You know, from the 30s and 40s, even earlier sometimes.
You listen to the old blues music?
No, old popular music. You know, very early 30s popular music and that kind of stuff. Yeah. I get a lot of pleasure out of that. The performances and the singing is so fantastic.
Do you are you teaching or mentoring anyone?
No.
No.
No, I've got enough on my plate just teaching myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to improve the whole time. You know, so you know that's what I work on really. New songs, improving my ability to play.
How do you keep yourself in shape, Robin, to play, to go out on tour, to...
Well, I think that's the work that I put in. You know, it's like I say, I try and pick up the guitar every day. And I'm always trying to... especially with the lead work, I'm always trying to make it more soulful, more deep. I'm always working on that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you've got to teach yourself to steer away from cliches or, you know, it's a task.
Yeah. How did you bring yourself through the 70s and the early 80s and through the whole drug scene that seemed to overcome so many great musicians? You made it either through that or around that.
Well, as I say, I'm an outsider, so I never really was. I never hung out with musicians or anything like that. So, you know, kept away from it pretty much.
Right. Because unfortunately, as you start, I was doing the research for the interview, you start looking back at the people that you've played with, especially the musicians from Bridge of Sighs, Reg and James Dewar, who are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And the list of people who are no longer with us that you've played with is long.
Yeah, I think that's the luck of the draw with, the genes that you inherit, for your health. But I mean, as I say, I've looked after myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Never been a drinker. Gave up smoking when I was about 30. So, I think that makes a difference.
Oh yeah, and I think all your fans are really glad you did, and that you're still here and you're still doing it.
Yeah, well, it's still fun, and I'll carry on doing it while it's still fun.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that it seems to be more fun than than it's ever been. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, I think I'm playing, what I would call really well, and there's a great amount of satisfaction out of that.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate your phone call, Robin. I've been waiting to talk to you for a while now, and this has been an amazing conversation. So thank you very much for your time.
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time, Robin. Have a great day.
Okay now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.